Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to continue our class with you, our writing module, which is a part of reading writing subject. So the topic that we are going to discuss with you today is letter of complaint. My name is Madina Shukurova, and I'm teacher of English Linguistics Department. So we have learned with you different types of letters. We have learned with you letter to the editor, letter of explanation, and so on. So today the topic that we are going to discuss with you is letter of complaint. So now let's start with you. First of all, before writing what is letter of complaint itself, let's analyze with you the structure. Letter of complaint itself is a formal piece of writing, we have to understand. And while writing the letter of complaint, we have to follow formal language of the letter writing, where there is a formal greeting, formal ending, plus the language that you use in the introduction, in the main body, and conclusion is formal language. No street language, not informal, not semi-formal, so it should be formal language of a letter of complaint. So a formal letter of complaint is written to complain about a problem which has risen, for example, about faulty merchandise, for example, rude staff, inaccurate, for example, information, and etc. It should explain the reasons for the complaint and usually includes a suggestion, request, demand concerning what should be done, how it should be solved. And for example, you demand refunding or compensation. Of course, while giving the suggestion and demands, you should give it in the main body. Your refund, compensation, your demand, what you want to be done according to the situation that you have frozen, should be given in the conclusion part of your letter of complaint. So according to the language that you use, the language of your letter of complaint, pay attention, formal letter of complaint should be or can be mild or strong, depending on the problems that have been risen. So the mild or strong language can be used depending on the writer's feelings and the seriousness of the complaint, but abusive language is never allowed, must never be used here in this case. So if you have mild complaint, for example, you have to use the following language. I'm writing, for example, to complain about a factual error in yesterday's newspaper. I hope that you will give this matter your prompt attention. And if you have strong complaint, you can say, I am writing to express my strong complaint, disapproval concerning the offensive behavior of an employee at your company's Winchester Road Bridge, for example. Or I can say, I demand a full written apology, or I'll be forced to take legal action, is also for strong complaint. So the nature of complaint should be clearly stated in the first paragraph, of course. So what does it mean in the first paragraph? It means in the introductory part. So in the nature, what is your problem should be given in the introduction. Plus, these problems shows the language that you will use. Is it mild or strong, for example? Each aspect of the topic should be presented in a separate paragraph, like a different problem, suggestions, aspect is meant here. So which means it should be given in different paragraphs, where each paragraph has its own clear topic sentence, that when you read the topic sentence, you can completely understand that the topic is going to be, this paragraph is going to be about the following. And plus, we have to keep in our mind that each complaint should be supported by justification, like not only giving the problem itself, but you have to give the justification exactly with the fact what really happened, when, where, who did something towards you. It should be given with its own clear justification, like proofs. So it was about the structure, how to write. So according to the structure, it should be mild or strong, the language that you use. It should be formal letter of complaint. So the next one is, let's speak with you about the useful language, dear students. So as you know, each kind of writing, it has its own language that should be used. Like to start the letter, to write the main body, and to write the conclusion of your letter of complaint. So to start, to begin your letter of complaint, you should use, depending on the mild and strong complaint, you can use, for example, I am writing to complain about, I'm writing to draw your attention to the problem of, for example, I'm writing to express my dissatisfaction or disappointment about with something. If you have got strong complaint, for example, I am writing to express my annoyance, or I'm writing to express my extreme dissatisfaction with, I'm writing to express my anger at, or I'm writing to express my protest about something, for example. Then you give the problems that happened to you, for example. Then the next one is the next language you can use in your strong complaint is, I regret to, for example, or I feel I must inform you how appalled, or I shocked, I was, for example. That is used in the introductory part of your letter of complaint. And when you want to finish, if you want to finish at the end in the concluding part of your language, you have to use the following language, like if it is, of course, mild complaint, you can say, I hope, or I trust this matter will be dealt with. I hope this matter will be resolved as soon as possible, for example. I hope that this matter will receive your immediate attention. I hope that this matter will not be treated lightly, for example. Or I feel that you should. I am entitled to compensation, for example. I refund, for example, or I am entitled to refund. I am entitled to replacement, for example. If you want what you want to, the person who did that fault, what he or she would like you to do towards you. If you have got, for example, a strong complaint, you have to use the following language as well. For example, I must, I insist on, I insist that, demand, or I insist, I demand. I warn you that, for example, or unless this matter is resolved, unless satisfactory compensation is offered, for example, or I will have no choice but to, I'll be forced to take further, I'll be forced to take legal action, and so on, should be used to end, to finish your letter. So it was about useful language that you have to use to begin your letter and to end your letter, which means to begin that you have to use in the introductory part of your letter, and to end means that it means that you have to use this language in the conclusion part of your letter, like depending on the language that you use, whether the problem is mild or strong. Also, you have to be attentive to use the language, whether it is mild or strong. You can use mild complaint, you can use strong complaint. So the next one is, I have got here several exercises that I would like to do with you, dear students. So be attentive, please. What is it? So we have got exercise 2. So you have to read the instructions and the model letter below. Here, there is a model of letter of complaint, an example that I would like you to read together with you and to get somehow an example of letter of complaint. So then what you have to do, so read the model letter below and find the topic sentence of each paragraph. Then underline any phrase which you feel are too informal for a letter of this kind. As in the example, the numbers in circles indicate the lines which contain the informal phrases. So replace these with the phrases from the list below. So we have overall here 8 paragraphs. So the first one is, of course, considered to be the introductory paragraph. And the last one, the 8th one, is considered to be the concluding paragraph. And I would like also you to be attentive to the language used in the letter of complaint, like as we have already a little bit earlier spoken with you about useful language that should be used to start, to finish the letter, and to use in the main body of your letter, of course. So what do we have here? So we have to read each sentence. We have to find the topic sentence of each paragraph. Plus we have to replace those not exactable verbs, informal phrases to the formal from the examples. For example, what do we have? A, we have compensate me for. B, we have otherwise. We have otherwise I'll be forced to. We have here S, we have C1, we have I'm writing to express my extreme dissatisfaction with, we have here. Then we have I insist that you. E, we have despite my objections. F, we have having no other alternative. I therefore request that you, we have here. Or the last one we have contrary to what I have been told is an H1 that should be replaced in the numbered sentence in the content of our letter. So now let's read the situation. What situation do we have here? So I recently hired a car for a part of your holiday. However, there were several problems with the arrangements. Write a letter of complaint to the managers, explaining the problems and requesting compensation. So this is a problem that is described in the letter. So our task is to read the letter, to analyze the structure, to find the topic sentences, and plus to replace those informal phrases used in the example in the model. So first, let's start. Dear Sir, Madam, I am writing this because I'm really upset about the service I received when I rented one of your cars on 20th July. Firstly, I had specifically requested a 4-door model. However, I was given a smaller 2-door version, which apart from being too small for my needs, was clearly in need of extensive repair. I moaned about it, but your employees informed me that it was the only car available and assured me that it was in perfect order. I couldn't do anything else, so I accepted the vehicle. Although they said there were not, there were. So, in fact, several things wrong with the car. Despite the fact I had driven it for only 1 hour, I was forced to stop when the engine showed signs of overheating. Having added 2 liters of water to the radiator, I was able to continue also during the course of my journey. A knocking sound from the engine became increasingly persistent and the windscreen wiper stopped working. My subsequent journey was most uncomfortable. Not only did I have the worry of driving a car which was not roadworthy, but I also had to stop on the 3 occasions to refill the radiator. Finally, I had no choice but to leave the car at your Oxford branch and continue my journey using public transport. I feel that your employees acted irresponsibly in issuing a car which was not safe to drive. And I believe I am entitled to compensation for the interruption to my holiday. So I want you to send me the sum of $200 to cover the cost of my train ticket and to make me feel better after the distress I was forced to suffer as a result of your negligence. You'd better give this matter your urgent attention, or else I really will have to take legal actions. Yours faithfully, Mr. S. Madison. First of all, let's analyze just the outlook of the letter of complaint according to its structure. As I told you, well, I just started the lesson. I told you it should have its own formal beginning, it should have its own introduction, it should have its own main body, and it should have its own conclusion. Plus, it should have its own proper ending, formal ending. So we have here formal beginning, which is greeting also, is called like this. So we have dear Sir, Madam, which is formal beginning, and we have got yours faithfully, pay attention, comma we have here. And then in the second line, we have the name, who is writing the letter. As it is formal, you should give the complete full name here. So the first paragraph, we have, I am writing this because I'm really upset about the service I received. So what is the topic sentence? So plus, and your complaint is, I'm writing this because I'm really upset. That shows that you are going to complain about something. And the topic sentence are the first sentences mostly of each paragraph that shows what is going to be discussed in this paragraph. So the first paragraph is an introductory paragraph, which is called introduction, of course, where you give the complaint, the problems that you are complaining about. So you give here I'm really about something upset that happened concerning your car that happened on 20th of July. So let's analyze the second paragraph. So we have to find the verb that is, how to say, informal phrase. We have to find informal phrase. So the informal phrase is here. We have in the second paragraph, I moaned about it, but is called to be an informal language. And we can replace it with I am writing to express my extreme dissatisfaction with. So it can be replaced with the following one. So the next one is, the third one is I couldn't do anything else so. So I couldn't do anything else so can be also an informal phrase that we have to replace it with the proper phrase. In the fourth paragraph, we have although they said they were not is informal phrase. In the fifth paragraph, we have so I want you to, that should be replaced into formal phrase. So in the next one, we have in the sixth one, make me feel better after, which is also informal phrase. In the seventh one, you would better, that should be replaced again. And in the last paragraph we have here, in the eighth paragraph, which is also the conclusion of the letter of complaint, or else I really will have to, that should be replaced with a proper formal phrase according to the language given in the example. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H that should be replaced. So I've just mentioned to you and read to you those informal phrases that should be replaced. Please, dear students, try to find and match these informal phrases with a formal from the given example. So it was the example to you of the letter of complaint, how it should be given. The next one is you have to, exercise number 3, match the complaints and justifications below, then join them using appropriate linking words and phrases. So what is complaint and justification? As I told you at the beginning of our lesson, that each justification, complaint should be proved with justification. Not only like giving I am complaining. So you have to give I am complaining about the following situations that happened to me. That is called to be a justification. So we have different complaints here and we have different justifications here. So let's look at the first one. The goods we ordered have not been received yet is our complaint. And we can say find from justification like they were shipped a month ago. Though they have been shipped a month ago is its justification. Our complaint is the goods haven't received yet, and our justification, it has been sent a month ago. So the second one is, we have here the second one, our wooden floors have become dull. We were told they would not lose their shine is our justification. So the third one, the batteries died after a few hours, though the label on the packed claims they are long lasting. That justifies this is not long lasting. The next one is, fourth one, the hotel was an hour's drive from the beach. We were told it was within walking distance is D1. Fifth one, the film was too long and very boring is your claim. The trailer said it would keep me on the edge of my seat, that I'll really enjoy it. So it is not like this. That is why I'm complaining. The sixth one is, the knife became blunt after only a month's use. So here we have got a month's use. Sixth one is, And the answer is, you said it was guaranteed to stay sharp for 5 years. You see here, the justification, it didn't continue 5 years for 5 years, I mean here. So the next one is, 7. The mascara made my eyes water. The manufacturer claims it is hypoallergenic. So it has got its allergy. So it proves that this is not like this, right? So the last one is, my daughter's watch stopped after the swan with it on. So the answer is, we were told they were not, wouldn't lose their shine, is justification. So the next exercise. The next exercise is about the following, what you have to do. So here you have to read the instructions and model letter and complete the paragraph plain on the right. We have got paragraph plain on the right, like introduction, main body, and conclusion. So introduction is reason for writing. You have to find what is the reason of writing this letter of complaint. So read the instructions and model letter and complete the paragraph plain on the right, identifying the topic of each paragraph. Then fill in the blanks in the letter with the words and phrases below as in the example given here. We have got the example here. Some of the words can be used more than once. So we have got here. So in the meantime, therefore, not only, but also, while, nevertheless, we have thus, furthermore, as a result. All those things that should be used in those gaps given in the sentence. So don't forget that you can use those phrases more than once. So introduction, main body, and conclusion. What is the next activity? Also, as we have mentioned with you, as we have done the exercise with you with complaint, with justification, we use different linking words. So letter of complaint has its own linking words as well, like complaints and justification can be linked together as follow. For example, using but, nevertheless, however, in spite of, despite the fact that, although, even though. So what does it say? I purchased the camcorder only a month ago, but the rewind button doesn't function properly. I purchased the camcorder a month ago, nevertheless, however, the rewind button does not function properly. The rewind button does not function properly despite the fact that I purchased the camcorder only a month ago. So we have got here, don't forget, let's revise once more time with you. Letter of complaint consists of introduction, where paragraph 1, you state the reason of writing your letter of complaint. Then it consists of main body consisting of 2, 3, 4 to 5 paragraphs, where you state complaints with justification and you suggest what should be done in order to solve the situation. Then you give conclusion, final paragraph with closing remarks. Don't forget, you have to use a formal language while writing your letter. So the exact number and division of paragraph will depend on the specific instruction for each letter writing task. The next is activities that you have to do is read the instructions below and the beginning and ending from letters of complaint. Then match the beginning and ending and say whether the language in each pair is mild or strong or abusive. Don't forget, no abusive language should be used in letter of complaint. You can use either strong or mild language. Then which level of language would be most appropriate for the situation described. So we have got beginnings and we have endings here. So your task is to match them, plus comment about the language, mild, strong, or abusive. Then we have got exercise number 6, where you have to read the following situation and say whether the mild or strong language would be appropriate for the letter concerning each one. Then choose 2 situations and write suitable beginning and ending for a letter of complaint about each. We have 6 here overall that you have to choose 2 of them. Then, what is your homework, dear students? Choose one of the topics and write a letter of complaint consisting of 250 and 300 words. So what topics do we have? You are the manager of a supermarket which is losing customers because employees of the company next door parked their cars in the supermarket parking area. Write a letter of complaint to the company and suggest what should be done. Is the A1 one of the problems that you can for example, describing your letter of complaint. And the second one is you have noticed that students at your son's school are often left unattended. Write a letter of complaint to the headmaster and ask him to ensure that the situation does not continue anymore. So you have to write your letter of complaint, taking into account the question that I've just mentioned to you, being attentive to the language that you will use in your letter. It should be formal language. Your complaint can be mild, strong, according to the problems that you have chosen, A or B one. Use the proper language, use useful language that is required while writing the introduction, main body, and conclusion of your letter. So dear students, it was shortly about how to write letter of complaint, and with several examples presented by your teacher, of course. I hope that the topic was clear to you. Thank you very much for your attention. Goodbye. Thank you.